I'm just wondering, now that it's all said and done, now that it's in the rearview mirror, give me a description of what it was like this Thanksgiving, this birthday versus last year's Thanksgiving, last year's birthday, the year before that, etc. Just the standard, what would you would expect from Jeff as he celebrates Thanksgiving and birthday versus what we had this week.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, in the past life, there was no hold barred, just reckless abandon. I I don't know what that would quantify to, but as far as weight gain or net, effect, but there was nothing. It was just reckless abandon. There was nothing ever thought put into discipline or holding anything back. It was just consume whatever you want whenever you want, and probably even more gluttony than the traditional time of throughout the rest of the year when the holidays start coming around. Thanksgiving, my birthday this year happened to be the day after Thanksgiving, so yeah, this would start the kickoff of a gluttonous period of extremely gluttonous period of time. So so I will say that this has been a challenging week when it comes to discipline. This would not be the most disciplined week of my last couple months. This has been far from it. So, but at the same time, I've been more thoughtful than I would have been when I compare it to, any time in recent history during this period of the year. So, I am grateful that this is not a weigh-in week, because
So am I.
because I think that could probably be counterproductive to my psyche. But at the same, I did enjoy myself, but I feel like I did judiciously. I was moderate in my quantity of what I consumed. I feel like in comparison to things that I've done in the past, I was much more thoughtful and deliberate, and so I didn't stop myself from enjoying things I wanted to enjoy. I just, um, I was judicious. I was just like, I the best word I can come up with. I didn't say no to things I wanted. If it was something that was marginal, I didn't need it. I didn't just do for the sake of doing. I can say no easier to things that I don't need. I'm more calculated, and is this really worth it? I've indulged in treats. Like if Thanksgiving dinner comes to mind. Like I did hold off on the mac and cheese. I didn't have mac and cheese this year. I didn't have mashed potatoes and gravy. The carb items, I loaded up on the turkey and the ham. So I had green beans. I had broccoli salad. Those types of things. I loaded up the plate with all the stuff that really was not going to be counterproductive. I stayed away from, Lord have mercy, I stayed away from the butter rolls, man. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it. I know.
I don't believe you.
I don't know how I did it, man. I know. I had the thought in my mind that I knew dessert was on the way, and that helped me. To just know, like, okay, what's the evil I want to give in on. And I was at the in-laws, and they had made special effort to make a dessert, so I wanted to make sure that that kind of they made it an easy tiebreaker. So yeah, so I just stuff like that. I indulged in the desserts a little bit more. Pecan pie, things that you don't get during, pumpkin pie, things that you don't get during the rest of the year. It's a special type of thing, right? So, I won't have those things probably again until next Thanksgiving. So, yeah, I mean, I probably indulged in some way, shape, or form with a sweet treat almost every day. And that's what scares me. But my quantities were, I feel like, pretty reasonable. But I just know that it was not what it has been for the last 10 weeks or whatever it's been. So that's what got me a little bit concerned. I don't feel like it's been counterproductive, but I know it's probably not helping me to be, uh, you know, progressing towards my goals. So, yeah, I'm glad that this is a week off as far as weighing in, and I'll be crossing my fingers the next time I do weigh.
One question for you that's quite important. Are you done consuming the sweet treats, or is this? Was there a cutoff period as to when this came to an end, or is it going to come to an end, or where are we at?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, back to work, back in the routine. When I look in the mirror, I don't feel like damage has been done. That's a big thing. When I'm moving around, I don't feel like damage has been done. So that's encouraging. And those are things that fuel me, that motivate me. I definitely can't afford to make to go backwards in those areas. So, but the scale is another place that doesn't lie, and I need to make sure that I'm making the progress I want to.
It's interesting to note that you were performing calculations without performing calculations. And it's the same exact method that I use. So you go into Thanksgiving knowing that I've got 10 carb foods to choose from, and I prioritize, determined I could eat it all. I certainly could take some enjoyment in everything that's there, but what's at the top of the list? What's my top priority? What's the thing I'm looking forward to the most? And then what's second and what's third and et cetera. And then make the choice, because you're not counting calories and carbs on Thanksgiving, but you kind of are in an indirect way. It was what you're doing is you're looking at all those carbs that you could easily consume that would probably total 500 grams at the end of the meal. And you're thinking, I there's some of these carbs that are good. I mean, if I would eat it, I mean, I have no problem consuming it. I mean, but I do have a goal here that I'm trying to achieve that is making me happy. And it's helping to improve my confidence. It's making me healthier and it's making me feel better. So when I factor that into the equation, I'm looking at all these foods and it's Thanksgiving. I'm going to have fun, but I can prioritize what my fun is going to be. I can pick which ones I'm going to consume and which ones I'm not going to consume. And the way you started off this episode, it sounded like the week could have been an abysmal failure and you were trying to dance around it. But then as you got specific and said what you had on Thanksgiving, it went in a completely different direction because you were making choices, deliberate choices. I'm not having this. I'm not having that. When you could have had it all. So there's a lot you didn't have. And that ended up reducing the amount of carbohydrates substantially in that meal. And then you had the pie and the dessert, whatever it was that you were looking forward to, which you would have had anyway. So it would have been, it's not like you would have, if you would have eaten those other, the ones you skipped, that you wouldn't have had dessert. No, you would have had that and dessert and then some.
Better believe.
So,
yeah.
Right. So that's the point. You ended up deciding, I'm going to cut these out. I'm not going to have these because they're, to me, like, yeah, they're good, but I can look forward to the main event. I can look forward to the top 1, 2, 3 items, whatever that is. And this other 7, I can skip. And I can feel great about that because I'm looking forward to consuming those. And those are my favorite. And that's what you did. And that was an incredible judgment call on your part.
I don't hear that from you very often.
Well, you did this on your, we didn't come up with a game plan that this is, you're going to go at the table and this is what you have to do, because there's no having to do with Jeff. Let me just make sure everybody understands. You don't tell Jeff what to do, because if you tell Jeff what to do, he's going to do the opposite. So we don't want that to happen. Yeah. So I just leave it. I want it to be Jeff's idea. I want him to decide, this is the direction that works best for me. And the scale is going to determine at the end of the week whether that decision was a good or bad one. And if we have to change directions, we will. But that is you making a choice that's in your best interest, as you sat down and determined, here, I have a choice to make. I could do a lot of damage in this one meal. I have the potential to do that. I have the capability of doing that, but I'm going to do something different. I'm going to have a good time. It's going to be enjoyable, but I'm going to prioritize, and I'm going to have certain foods that I am going to eat. And then there are other ones at the table that I would have eaten before in prior years, no problem, but I'm just going to skip it. And that saves a ton of carbs. At the end of the meal, you probably ate in total half of the carbs that you normally would have eaten on Thanksgiving. And that's incredible. That's absolutely amazing. I can't say that the majority of people who are on a diet are going into Thanksgiving cutting down their carb content. They're really not thinking about that, because it's a very difficult thing to do. When you're an emotional eater, especially, it's something that you look forward to. It's on this day, I'm not going to think about it. It's not going to matter to me. But you thought about it. You did make active choices. And that shows that this is becoming part of your lifestyle. It's not just a fad. You're actually deciding to implement this into your life. And on a day like Thanksgiving, which is the one day out of the year where people eat the most amount of food that they can possibly eat, and they don't apologize for it, okay? And so that's what the general population does. So, and you've decided to do something different. You still had fun, you still enjoyed it, you still had your dessert, you still had some carbs, but there's a lot of carbs you didn't have. And that's what making health and weight loss a lifestyle is all about. It's about making those kind of decisions where you don't rob yourself of having a good time. You still enjoyed yourself. You were having desserts on other days. Like you were consuming your sweets, as you said. So you were having a good time, but you ended up consuming a significantly smaller portion of carbohydrates than you have in any other year, as a result of being intentional, as a result of deciding this is what I'm going to do, going into it, and not placing your logical brain next to you and deciding we're not going to turn that part of our brain on for the next 24 hours. We're just going to, whatever emotion hits me, I'm going to just take advantage of it. And I'm going to polish off everything I can see. You didn't do that. So that's the key, is keeping the goal in the forefront of your mind, and then not getting into a frame of mind where I have to eliminate everything, but rather make judicious choices where I can have a good time. I can enjoy myself. I can actually look forward to these particular foods, but then these other ones that are always served that I would normally eat, I'm not going to consume those. I'm going to just skip those, and I'm going to feel good about it, because the ones that I've picked, I'm going to enjoy, and it's going to be a wonderful experience nonetheless. And so I commend you for that. I think that was an incredible decision that you made, and you have the right frame of mind to be able to get to the finish line as a result of this. Because what's more difficult, the two most difficult scenarios I can come up with when someone's trying to lose weight in terms of maintaining consistency is holidays, special occasions, holidays, Thanksgiving being pretty much near the top of the list, if not number one, and then stress. So those are they're really the two obstacles and pitfalls. It's getting together with people who are eating a bunch of food and joining in with them. That's the one temptation. The other temptation, I get stressed out. I know that the food makes me feel better, so I'm just going to go for whatever it is that I enjoy and forget about my stress. And then you just immerse yourself in that. And one donut leads to two, leads to three, leads to 10. And those are the two pitfalls. And you address this one I think in just the perfect way.